Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is the Joker himself, Mr. Andrew Meadows.
No, I'm joking.
Well, that's pretty on point, is it not?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, and so is Colton Brown, and we're going to talk about the Joker tonight.
That's why he's the man who laughs over there. It's been something we've been talking about via trailers and controversy and winning over Venice in a pretty grand fashion at their film festival and such. So it's finally arrived in theaters, and we're gonna offer our hot takes in just a little while. I do have a pretty big announcement. For anyone that hasn't paid attention to our Twitter feed and hasn't seen it already, we have a new bonus episode that's available for our supporters on Patreon. It's been a long time coming, but our Studio Ghibli Part 1 coverage is finally available as a bonus episode. So we talked the first 5 films in Studio Ghibli, the Japanese film animation studio's resume, including the likes of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, Castle in the Sky, Grave of the Fireflies, My Neighbor Totoro, and Kiki's Delivery Service. 5 really, really great films. I don't think that's a spoiler to say, but for different ways and some in very different ways. So it's a good episode. Hope everyone gets a chance to listen to it. I'll say this. If you want to listen to it now, you got to do it the hard way. And that's supporting us on Patreon. Now, we don't ask too much of you. We ask $2 a month, and in return, you get access to bonus episodes, and you get early access to all of our regular episodes, such as this one, and you get to help us out. Contribute to a good cause. We're just two dudes living in a home, not together, separately, and we record podcasts from time to time. It's not something we make money off of. We do it because we have fun doing it. We like talking about movies together, and we hope that a few people out there in the world enjoy our conversations as well. So if it's anything that you've enjoyed over the past couple of years that we've been doing it, if it's anything you think you're going to enjoy in the future, maybe think about chipping in a couple bucks a month and getting access to that episode. Like I said, it's a good episode, so I think it'd be worth your time if that's anything you're so inclined, and it's just one of the benefits of supporting us on Patreon. So how do you support us on Patreon? It's probably important to know. Patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat, or you can head to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com, click the premium tab in the top left, and then there should be a big thing of the Studio Ghibli bonus episode information. You can click that, or you can click the Become a Patron button. Either way, it'll get you in the right spot. So, without further ado, we can proceed into the fun fact territory of this episode. Do you have anything on tap for our fun fact, Andrew?
I have no fun facts for this movie.
It's because it's not a fun movie. Is that why?
That is exactly why I have no fun facts, because it is not a fun movie.
Well, I have some facts. I mean, they're maybe fun. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. I'll let our listeners be the judge. How about that? I can throw some things at you. I'm looking at a BuzzFeed article which compiled some super cool behind-the-scenes facts about Joker that are fascinating and impressive. All right, so most of the first few, actually, I think I'm going to compile and use as my quote-unquote fun fact, because they center around Joaquin Phoenix and the lengths that he went to becoming the Joker for this film. So he went on an extreme diet and lost 52 pounds in preparation to play the role, which I think is very visible on screen. The role of the film, the role of Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker in this, was conceived with Joaquin Phoenix as the only actor in mind for it. So that's pretty interesting. And he says that he wanted to do his own take, his own creation, so he did not refer to any past iterations of the Joker, which obviously we've seen many in the past, from Heath Ledger to Jack Nicholson to Cesar Romero, if you want to go back a few more years. And of course, like Mark Hamill's animated version is iconic as well. So there's been plenty of takes on the Joker, but he wanted to kind of add his own wrinkle and own spin on it. So to do it, he studied movements of iconic silent film stars like Buster Keaton and Ray Bolger. So that's kind of what he did. And yeah, I think you could feel a lot of those influences. Like there's a lot of Scorsese in this movie. There's a lot of kind of, it's mostly just a lot of that actually.
You seen Taxi Driver? Then, whatever. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
There's a bit of that in this. So anyway, I was thinking there was some more things in there that might be something to add on to that. But that's more or less it. That's more or less what I have to offer for you. There is something else that I'll talk about, probably in spoilers, that I could have used as a fun fact, but I think technically I don't think they went into it in the trailer. So I figure for the sake of not tipping, not spoiling things for our listeners, even if it's a pretty minor spoiler in the scheme of things, I'll go ahead and hold on to that card. So yeah, that's what I got. I mean, it's sort of fun. I mean, it's a movie.
More than what I had, so it makes it more fun.
On that note, let's go on to some news. Now, just as a point of note, this past weekend, New York Comic-Con happened. Neither of us went, although technically I am only 2 hours away from New York City, which is
shame.
But yeah, there's a few things that happened on there. Nothing too groundbreaking, not in the way that like San Diego Comic-Con or D23 was, where we're gonna, spend an hour talking about things. I think there's maybe one trailer from that entire batch of things that kind of happened over the weekend that we're going to talk about on this episode. But I just say that to say that there are things that, like, I think there was like a Picard trailer that came out, maybe something else, and it's just like, yeah, we talked about kind of the first trailers on that, and like, unless it's like super kind of our shit, like, I don't know that we'd be able to say anything differently than what we already said. That kind of makes sense, right?
Right, totally.
So in the interest of not just repeating ourselves, we figured we'd go for the sake of brevity and just kind of talk about the things that we do think we might have a few maybe new things to say, or maybe we're just going to be beating a dead horse again if things continue to maybe look a certain way. I don't know. So I'm going to kick it over to you, sir. What news do you want to start off with?
I'm going to start out with Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige is going to be developing a new Star Wars movie. How about that?
Some pretty badass shit, if you ask me.
It's pretty good. He knows how to produce films. I would say he probably knows how to produce a Star Wars film. He's a huge fan. And they're calling in the Marvel big guns to produce
the
some
big
sort
gun. I mean, he's president
the biggest
of
gun.
Marvel Studios.
Yeah,
he is the big gun.
Yeah, and we're going to see what he can do on a Star Wars movie. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you look at his track record over at Marvel Studios, and so it kind of makes sense. Obviously, there's the Disney synergy happening there between Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm, sharing a common owner.
What do you think his net worth is, Kevin Feige?
Oh, I don't know. He's got.
I'm going to Google it real quick.
See, the thing is, he's been around for years before Marvel Studios hit it big. He's been working on like Marvel movies since the first X-Men. You see, so he's been in the game for a long time, but he's always I think he's kind of been a lower tier of producer, not the loudest voice in the room, and then lo and behold, when he becomes the loudest voice in the room, it's amazing what happens when you trust someone that actually, might say knows what they're doing. Maybe certain studios should, take some lessons. I don't know. Maybe certain other comic book companies could take a page out of that book, but who am I? But yeah, there's actually not a whole lot more details other than like it's happening, which is actually obviously a pretty big piece of news in and of itself. But it does. I mean, it goes to show that even though The Rise of Skywalker may be the close to the Skywalker saga, Star Wars ain't going anywhere. It's not going away anytime soon. So we still got the Rian Johnson trilogy coming out. We got the D&D trilogy coming out. Whatever those end up being, and honestly, whatever this ends up being, plus the Mandalorian, other TV shows on the horizon, Obi-Wan, Cassian Andor. So plenty of Star Wars coming in the future, and one of those projects is going to be courtesy of one very hardworking Kevin Feige. So I think it's safe to say we're looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely.
Hot takes abound on this episode. Hold on to your butts, folks. All right. I have some news concerning... Well, actually, as it turned out, I believe we talked about this franchise the last regular episode we did a couple weeks ago when we recorded Jurassic World, part of the Jurassic Park franchise. You might recall that fantastic short film that we witnessed, Battle at some sort of rock, round rock.
Battle at the Rock? Yeah, Battle at the Rock.
There were some dinosaurs at some rocks, and there was a child shooting a dinosaur with a crossbow or something, I believe. I believe that was part of it. I don't think I made that up. We have news concerning Jurassic World 3. They are bringing back a power trio from the original Jurassic Park. Laura Dern, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, all back for Jurassic World 3 to star alongside Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, I feel like we might say a little negative on the short film, which was directed by this film's director, Colin Trevorrow. Would you say that bringing in these three from the OG Jurassic Park, does that make you more excited? Does that give you any more confidence in the project? Where are you at with this?
Let's just see where it goes, I guess. I mean,
are they here for paychecks?
I think they definitely might be there for paychecks. There's no doubt about that they're getting paid.
Are they here exclusively for paychecks, I suppose? Let me rephrase the question. Do you think
Jeff,
for them?
I think they're totally there. Jeff
Goldblum was in Fallen Kingdom for all of about 30 seconds. Lest we forget.
Collecting a little bit.
We truly are in a Jurassic World. Whatever he said. I don't know. There's some dumb shit.
That's it. Yeah, so I think everybody there's there for a paycheck. We'll see where it goes. I don't have high hopes.
Right.
But I'm sure I'll watch it. It's fucking Jurassic Park.
I'm sure we'll cover it, and I'm sure the episode art will be just as brilliant as it was for Fallen Kingdom. I mean, we literally just took it straight from, I think, the website. I mean,
what more
when they're putting their own marketing materials that look that bad out, I mean, what are you supposed to do, really? But it was fitting for the quality of the film. Yeah, I guess I'm in the same boat with you, where it's like, I still think this is going to be bad. It might make it more watchable, especially if they have kind of more than just glorified cameos, which I hope is not the case. I mean, if you put Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum in any project, my interest level will spike, just naturally speaking, because I think all three are great actors. So that plus the obvious Jurassic Park connection, maybe it'll be ham-fisted. I don't know.
We'll
see.
See.
Probably given the caliber of the writing team behind it, who also wrote that short film. And the previous two Jurassic Worlds, I think, or at least partially. So it's kind of just like, it'll probably still suck. But yeah, we'll see it and we'll cover it. So there you go. That's Jurassic World 3. It's happening.
Jurassic Park.
Let me give you a date on that. Let me give you a date when you can look forward to Jurassic World 3. I don't know. I don't know if there's a date for it. Probably a couple years away. There you go. What you got?
The Expanse Season 4 teaser trailer. Probably a full trailer.
It just says official teaser, but it's 2 minutes long. It's a trailer. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so we got that, and I still think Expanse is probably one of the most exciting things on television, even though it's on like streaming television now.
So that actually brings up something that I wanted to ask you about, because I still have not watched Season 3. It's unfortunate, obviously. Something I intend to rectify before Season 4 drops in December. But I wanted to ask you, based on your impressions from this teaser, trailer, whatever it is, did it feel like the production values are up? Or are they about the same? Because it felt like a lot of the space stuff, like I know it always looked good on sci-fi, aside from the sci-fi broadcast being absolute dog shit all the time.
That was terrible. Yeah.
And maybe that's just it. It's just like, like it's in actual HD, and there's actual
5.1, and it's
sound.
Not fucking terrible.
Right.
The sound was the
worst. Maybe it's literally just that, and they didn't do anything else, and it's just kind of continuity is there. I just couldn't tell. But that was my first impression. I was just damn, this looks good.
It looks good. It looks like they probably spent a little bit more money on it. So,
Jeff Bezos, man. Jeff Bezos says, I'll give you a little bit more. I'm going to give you 0.00000 .00000000001% of my total worth. Enjoy your $700 billion.
Fucking Jeff Bezos. That's disgusting. It's terrible. But he can make a cool movie with all his money, so that's cool. Make a cool show.
And, honestly, like, fuck sci-fi, obviously. We always have to get that dig in, but...
Why would they not renew it?
And there was the weird thing where, like, they only had certain rights to it, and I think it wasn't profitable for them to continue whatever their funding commitment was and airing it. Like, I don't know, but like Amazon, like, even if Amazon's not like quote unquote making money off of it directly, like, they're fine, you know. so I feel like Amazon is content to just be like this.
I feel like Jeff Bezos
could literally be
just
Jeff's
wants to keep watching
passion
the show.
project, and like this motherfucker could go for 20 seasons if they wanted it to. Just because
Jeff Bezos says, "Hey, I just want to keep watching the show. Just keep making it."
He's like, just keep making it. You got money, you're fine. I'll give you some
money,
more.
Keep making.
Here you go. Here's a few more billion.
It must be nice.
Must be nice.
I wish I could buy every show I wanted to keep fucking getting made.
Damn it! They canceled my favorite show. But sir,
I'm gonna buy it.
You
Keep
could
making it.
just pay everyone to make it. Oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, you're right. Must be nice. But this looks great. December 13th is when it's coming to Amazon Prime. All 3 seasons are up on Amazon Prime if anyone wants to catch up. I myself will probably start a full rewatch from season 1 because it's been a while since I've done season 1 and 2, and I still haven't watched season 3. So I'll probably start in the next month or so is my rough target date for that. So,
wow.
So
am I going to hold you to that?
Well, I really want to watch this when it comes out, and I think this is a full season drop on December 13th. So it's, you know, they're not giving us 1 week at a time. Around. So I feel like I got to be ready to go by December 13th, even though that I think literally falls smack dab in the middle of finals for me. So I might wait a few days to start it. So
I might be able to listen to the books between now and then too.
Well, there's a lot of books, but you could probably, you know, catch up to this point in the show for sure. Because that's doable. It's another target. I'm not going to hold you to that. I mean, it's up to you, but if you want,
might try it.
The books are good. Check them out. Yeah, Expanse is good.
What do you?
Well,
got?
I've got 2 Tom Holland related pieces of news. Do you want the? I mean, they're both fine. You know, I would say one is better than the other. So I'll ask, which one would you want? Do you want the less exciting one first? Do you want and save more exciting for later? Or you want the goods up front? What do you want?
I want the least exciting one first.
All right. Tom Holland is going to be Nathan Drake in Sony's Uncharted. This has been a known quantity for some time. They have cycled through, I believe, 19 directors at this point, and in comes number 20. Tom Holland is going to be directed, probably, maybe, we'll find out, by director Travis Knight, the Uncharted film. Now, he just did Bumblebee. It's his most recent film.
Bumblebee Tuna.
Bumblebee Tuna? Mm-hmm. Bumblebee Tuna. Bumblebee Tuna. Excuse me. Your balls are showing. Bumblebee Tuna. And he also did Kubo and the Two Strings. So I feel like between Bumblebee and Kubo, it's a pretty strong filmography.
He probably knows how to make a movie. Right.
And so even though, you know, like, I like Tom Holland a lot, you know. I think he's obviously great as Spider-Man. I feel like I haven't seen him in too many other things, but, you know, I like him in general. I don't see him as Nathan Drake, but obviously they're doing a younger take on Nathan Drake, and maybe we'll kind of age into being closer to the Nolan North voiced version of the character we've seen from the mini Sony games. But I like him, and I like Travis Knight, so I feel like as a pairing, this movie maybe has potential. Do we trust Sony? Maybe. The next news that I'll talk about regarding Tom Holland may make us trust Sony a little bit more than we might have a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
But either way, what do you think? Uncharted movie, UN, Tom Holland, Travis Knight, any of that do anything for you?
I think Tom Holland has the personality to be Nathan Drake.
That's true.
think he could be him.
like and like the Uncharted 3 had like the prologue in the beginning, and I think maybe 4. I think 4 you play as a younger Drake as well. So like it kind of feels like maybe they're just pulling on that, because I don't think this is intended to be like specifically based on the stories of any of the games. Like I think it's kind of supposed to be its own thing, just kind of using the universe as like a jumping off point, which could be fine, or it could be really bad.
It could be really bad. We have no idea, but I think as an idea, I think if you're going to have somebody play Nathan Drake, I think Tom Holland could be Nathan Drake. I think it could be cool.
Yeah, it could be. I feel like Travis Knight has been kind of like a hot commodity since Bumblebee. Like I know he was rumored for Guardians Volume 3 before James Gunn came back, or is going to come back for it. There was something else big that he was up for, like maybe a superhero movie or something like that. So I feel like his name gets thrown around in every like conversation of like, this big movie needs a director. He's going to do it. And this isn't like, I wouldn't say like a massive blockbuster type movie, but I think it definitely lends me more confidence in the final product.
Could be a major blockbuster movie.
Could be. Like I think it has the potential for it. I just don't know that it could also just be another video game movie, which they did better of recently. I mean, Pikachu was fun, and Tomb Raider I didn't think was like horrible or whatever. So maybe they're on the upswing.
We'll see.
Maybe. Then there's the other video game movies of the world that are usually pretty bad. So I don't know. So anyway, that's my first piece of Tom Holland news. I'll give it a little sizzle. You're really going to like the next piece of news regarding Tom Holland. But I want to ask what other news you have first.
Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright are in talks to play in the Batman movie.
Mm-hmm. It's true. All right, moving on.
That's it.
Well, that about captures it. But so I think this is kind of something interesting to talk about, and we'll get into it almost certainly when we talk about Joker 2. The DC universe is a hot fucking mess in terms of like what they're trying to do in terms of continuity. Now, obviously, like Joker is intended to be separated. It's clearly not Jared Leto's Joker that appears in the film, although maybe he does appear at one point. He doesn't. I'm kidding. But it's weird because we're going to talk about another DC property which got a trailer in the past week or so, and that is supposed to be part of like the Batman v Superman Suicide Squad universe. But this is the Batman. It's Robert Pattinson. It's not Ben Affleck, but also it's maybe not even supposed to be like an earlier version of Ben Affleck. It's just kind of its own thing too, which I think is fine too. Like, honestly, I would cut bait on that universe as soon as possible. I don't know why they're trying to hold on to that so desperately. That to me seems like a disaster. But like technically, like Aquaman and Shazam are part of that sort of extended universe. But then you're gonna like have the Batman be separated, and I'm like, that seems like a pretty big character to not include in your batch of like potential Justice League type things moving forward. Not that Justice League did all that hot or anything like that, but it's like the Justice League as a concept absolutely can make billions of dollars in the way that Avengers movies have. You just have to, actually fucking try when you make the movie and put some sort of effort into it. So
it's so weird.
Like I said, I kind of just say that all to say, like, what is DC doing? I don't know.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. Like they're really at the point of just throwing everything at the wall. Like as much shit at the wall, and some of it works, and maybe some of it doesn't. Like I thought Aquaman was fine. Really pretty enjoyable film. Shazam was a ton of fun too. Is Joker a ton of fun? No, it's not a ton of fun, but it's not a fun movie. It's not intended to be. It's so different in terms of tone. So it's just kind of like they're really kind of all over the place in kind of what they're trying to do. And that's not necessarily bad, because I suppose you could say that there's variety in what they're doing compared to, say, Marvel. If you wanted to make the sameness criticism, I don't think that's that far off the mark. They all do feel interconnected.
Well, that's
also a good thing too. Like that's kind of what DC emulated in the first place and fucked up so badly. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I'm going to take a step back and just say Jeffrey Wright is great. Most people probably recognize him as Bernard from Westworld. He is in talks to play Commissioner Gordon,
which I think is probably pretty cool.
Replacing now J.K. Simmons,
which is both pretty cool.
Back in the Marvel universe is J. Jonah Jameson, so it's kind of just like, all right, fair enough. To be, the Commissioner Gordon to Robert Pattinson's Batman. And now the interesting thing is what's going on with Jonah Hill, because we don't know who he's going to be playing. But there's a couple rumors about, and two like distinct rumors about who he's going to play. So it's kind of like he's not going to play both, but we know that he's supposed to play a villain. So some sources are saying Penguin, some sources are saying the Riddler. So I don't know. Which would you rather for Jonah Hill? What do you see more? Either?
Yeah, neither? I guess. I mean, he could be either one. He's a good actor. I think.
Is it skinny Jonah Hill? Is it fat Jonah Hill? I mean, so many questions.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my personal...
Because I feel like that actually does make a difference in terms of which character he would play of those two. So.
My personal Riddler would be always Jim Carrey. Always.
Riddle me this. Riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
Always Jim Carrey. There's no one else who can reprise that role. So I would say it would be the Penguin.
Mr. Enigma. Mr. Edward Nigma. You remember that little machine thing?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh God, what a shit film. Have we ever told the story about Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones meeting prior to filming Batman Forever? So I will just briefly surmise it as best as I can recall. Tommy Lee Jones was not a fan of Jim Carrey. And I guess they maybe saw each other at dinner. I don't think it was intended to be a dinner together, but they saw each other. And I think this might have been before they started filming Batman Forever, or maybe it was after. I feel like it would make sense either way. And Jim Carrey went up to Tommy Lee Jones, and I think he just basically said, like, the man, like, just, you could tell right away he fucking hated me. I wish I knew the exact verbiage, but basically he hugs him, and Tommy Lee Jones says something to him, and what he says to Jim Carrey is, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." That's what he says. And that is one of, like, the best fucking lines ever. And I think they should have included that in Batman Forever, now that I think about it. Like, I think Batman should have said that to either, really it could have been either to the Riddler or to Two-Face. Or Two-Face could have said it to the Riddler, even though they were basically both playing the Joker in that movie. I don't know. Anyway, that's beside the point.
I can't sanction your buffoonery.
I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Who the fuck says that? Anyways.
Tommy Lee Jones says that. I mean, honestly, that sounds like a very curmudgeonly thing to say. And Tommy Lee Jones is definitely the type of guy to say curmudgeonly things. He probably had a newspaper in front of his face and, like, flipped it down. "I cannot sanction your buffoonery," and just
flipped it back up. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think buffoonery has ever left my mouth. I don't think I've ever.
It will now. It better now. It better become part of your vernacular.
Buffoonery.
So yeah, that's what's going on with the Batman. Directed by Matt Reeves. Did the last two Planet of the Apes films, Cloverfield, Let Me In, Let the Right One In remake prior to that. So I'm excited for this project. Matt Reeves gets me excited. R. Pat's Batman gets me excited. Jeffrey Wright gets me excited. I like Jonah Hill. Kind of more of a wait and see on, like, who he's playing before I kind of make up my mind on that. But I like him. And I feel bad because he dropped his coffee cup and someone took a picture of it. Look it up for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Sad,
Poor guy. I don't think he drank a single sip out of it too. So I'm sure he can afford another one. He's probably okay on that front, but still, it's the principle of the matter. It's real sad. So yeah. Any other thoughts on the Batman?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Do you want my Tom Holland news?
Let's hear it.
Spider-Man. Got to talk Spider-Man.
Okay.
He's back
with Sony.
No, he's back with Marvel, boy.
Oh man, no way.
Oh, actually, did you? I actually have to ask you this. All right, well, let me set this up, and then I'll ask you my question. So, headline reads: Spider-Man will stay in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's the headline. So, we talked previously about how Disney and Sony had reached an impasse about continuing to have Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, we're just going to go in
their separate
ways.
direction,
Right.
make their own Spider-Man 3, separated from Disney. No
With
Kevin Feige involved.
Morbius and all their other shit, right?
Well, they're still making Morbius, and they're still making Venom 2. And they're apparently going to make Madam Web. Look it up also. I'm not going to talk about it. None of that should surprise anyone that's listened to us for long enough to hear our thoughts on Sony. Also, it shouldn't surprise anyone that knows anything about Sony. And you know what I would call that? I would call that buffoonery, is what I would call that.
I will not sanction your buffoonery, Sony.
I cannot sanction Sony's buffoonery, and evidently Disney couldn't either, because they came to an agreement. I believe the agreement is that Disney will put up 25% of the film's production budget and also receive 25% of the profits. I feel like they were at 30%, and like Sony was balking at that, so it was like, okay, like, just get your shit together. I know Disney put 50 up there at one point, but that was apparently like the last minute, like, well, fuck you then kind of thing. But apparently, the reason it all came together is because one Tom Holland made an impassioned plea to fucking Bob Iger, of all people, saying, hey, you're the CEO of Disney. Get this shit done. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Like, he pretty much was just like, like, look at the response to this. Why is this a thing? Why can you not fix this? You can fix this. You've got an infinite resources. Like, come on. So, anyway, that's kind of
fucking Spider-Man saved the day. Is that what you're telling me?
Spider-Man saved the day. It's what I'm telling you. So
that's incredible.
Things are looking good on that front, which is very exciting. I was going to ask you a question, but now that there's context, it makes a little bit more sense. Did you see what Tom Holland posted on social media after this announcement?
No.
Have you seen the film The Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No.
All right. So there's a scene in that where I think Jordan Belfort is a character he's playing, is about to leave the company. They're doing a bunch of super illegal shit, but they're making lots of money, so everyone's having it. Everyone's loving it. And I think he realized the feds are onto him, so he's about to like basically leave the company, and he has like a retirement speech, and then in like 2 seconds he like looks down, he looks at the crowd, and then he just kind of whispers, "I'm not fucking leaving." And then he waits like a couple seconds, "I'm not fucking leaving." And Tom Holland just literally posted that clip from the movie on his Instagram, like basically as a response to this news coming out. So it was awesome. Perfect. It was a perfect response. Also a pretty fun movie too. So check it out. Yeah, so that's really cool. So what this deal is 2 more movies in which Spider-Man is a lock now. Obviously, they could still negotiate for appearances beyond that, but that means that Spider-Man 3, the Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, will be produced by Kevin Feige, will be creatively produced by Marvel Studios, as it was before, and Tom Holland will also appear in a separate non-Spider-Man film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No idea what that'll be. So at least 2 more appearances. That allows them
the space to write Holland out.
If they think that, like, okay, let's not do this song and dance again because we know Sony's not going to do it again, then they can at least fashion it in a way that feels like a conclusion for the character. Because it's like, as where Far From Home left us with the character was definitively not a conclusion. It was quite the opposite, in fact, of kind of like, oh shit, like this is big deal for this character. So safe to say, pretty happy that they came to a resolution. Yeah.
Yes, definitely, without a doubt. Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man we've ever seen, I think.
Oh, for sure.
He's the best. So, yeah, glad he's back.
And he's back, and we'll see more of him. I believe Spider-Man 3, not the one released with Tobey Maguire, but the other one, probably, I don't know, it'll probably have home in the title again. Spider-Man Back Home, Spider-Man
something other.
Spider-Man Home Alone, I don't know. It's going to come out July 2021, so it's actually less than a couple years away, so very exciting. Each of us has one last piece of news. What's yours?
The Gentleman.
Little Guy Ritchie joint.
Little Guy Ritchie movie, returning back to crime movies, I guess.
Well, he's getting away from his King Arthurs, his Aladdins and stuff. Feels like more like he's coming back into his comfort zone, maybe
back to home, kind of way. And it looks humorous. It looks like Guy Ritchie, and I think it looks like a Guy Ritchie movie, which is pretty cool.
But not in like a complimentary way, not in like a Aladdin type thing where it's like this doesn't feel like Guy Ritchie. Like no, this is like
it's like Guy Ritchie movie.
Very Guy Ritchie.
And this is a Guy Ritchie movie I would enjoy to see. You know what I mean?
I do like the cast too.
I do like the cast.
Matthew McConaughey, pretty good. Charlie Hunnam. I enjoyed the gravity joke at the end, although I will say that's very collateral. I didn't kill him. The bullets in the fall killed him. It's kind of the same joke. So they just you're using it 15 years later, which is cool.
I didn't know that.
Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians, Michelle Dockery, Jeremy Strong, Eddie Marsan. Colin Farrell looks pretty funny in this.
He does look pretty funny.
I always enjoy a good off-kilter Colin Farrell role, and Hugh Grant completely fucking unrecognizable with that accent. Pretty awesome. So,
is Hugh Grant the guy in the very beginning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks fun. Looks like a ton of fun. So I'm really excited. I believe Guy Ritchie also wrote this, which again, it feels like that. You know what I mean? So that's not really surprising.
It's good.
Do we have a release date on this?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Courtesy of One Google.
One Googs.
January 24th, 2020.
Good. I'm happy about it.
Nice January. I mean, January is usually kind of like a dead season, so it might be nice to have a little Guy Ritchie crime movie in your life. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do I appreciate the last piece of news? No, I don't.
Well, what is your last piece of news?
My last piece of news is another trailer. Now, interestingly enough, this trailer is not actually labeled by its full title on the YouTube page. It's probably because the full title is 94 words long. The full title is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, but it's just Birds of Prey on the official trailer on the YouTube page, which is interesting because there seems to be a conspicuous lack of Birds of Prey in this trailer. Now, actually, let me before I get, on my high horse, I want to ask you how you feel about it.
I think it looks like shit.
All right, that's what I figured. I didn't think I was going to be cutting you off too much. But
now that you've given your opinion.
I mean, we got like the 30-second thing in front of it, Chapter 2, which was kind of nothing to go off of. And so now at least we have a full trailer here. And it's the Harley Quinn show, which is exactly what I did not want this movie to be.
But that's what sells.
Just call it Harley Quinn. I mean, I guess her name is technically in the title, but don't make a Birds of Prey movie without the Birds of Prey in it. I know 2/3 of them are technically in this movie or whatever, but I'm sorry, this isn't Birds of Prey. This looks like Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I think just visually, character-wise, there's obviously continuity there. It really feels like it's designed to be that sort of sequel, which I get. Movie made a lot of money, was absolute trash, but it made a lot of money and was popular, obviously. Harley Quinn as a character, obviously popular. So I kind of, I get it, and I get it in some ways of why this movie is what it is. I just wish that I just wish they would have just made a Harley movie, because I feel like my expectations when they announced we're making Birds of Prey, I'm like, oh, that could be pretty fucking cool, and then we get this, and I'm like, well, that's just not it. This ain't it, Chief, is just kind of where I'm at with it. I think it's got some, I think it looks like it's better shot than Suicide Squad was. Suicide Squad, especially the second half, was them literally just walking around the grayest city fighting silly putty monsters from Power Rangers, whatever those guys were. I think maybe just putty people. Is that what they were called?
Putty people, totally putty people.
And then you had Cara Delevingne doing a weird dance as the Enchantress for half the movie, and I'm like, what is this? What's even going on here? And so this doesn't look as baffling in that sense. It seems like it's competently made, I guess, for what it is. I'm not a fan of what it is. That's what I don't like about it. And so I'm like, maybe the highest compliment I can pay it is
it's not the first
just movie. Not for me.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I'll go see it, I guess. It comes out in February. So
I hope you don't drag
pretty
me to
close.
that shit because I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see... Well, if there's not a whole lot coming out on February 7th, 2020, we might... I mean, it wouldn't be the first movie that we've seen that we end up talking about that we end up not liking.
It's true.
So...
Duty calls.
We've done it before. Now we try to avoid it as much as possible, or it could be a pleasant surprise. You never know. It does have Obi-Wan Kenobi in it. He's playing Black Mask, even though his character
does not have a dark
does
mask.
not wear a black mask, or does not seem to have any interest in wearing any black masks. But it's a movie.
It's a movie. So, we'll go see it.
So. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. I'll see it. I'll take one for the team if nothing else, but we'll probably both see it because it probably won't be a whole lot that comes out around then. It's February. I would say it's dead season, but then again, Black Panther came out in February, so I feel like things are changing in terms of like release dates and stuff like that. Also, Marvel Studios just doesn't give a fuck. Probably is mostly what it is.
Drop them when we drop them. That's it.
That's the news, isn't it?
That's the news. I want to talk about this fucking Joker movie.
Do you want to laugh about it first? All right. Well, let me set it up for you, and then I want to hear your thoughts. It's written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, directed by Todd Phillips. It stars Joaquin, quote unquote, Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Zazie Beetz, and Francis Conroy. Tells the story of Arthur Fleck, a failed stand-up comedian who turns to a life of crime and chaos in Gotham City.
I feel like that description is just totally fucking misleading.
I found it on the internet. It must be true. Box office. This thing is making waves. It is it has set the largest October opening ever. And its actuals came in at $96.2 million for its opening weekend in North America, which I just want to make a point to note that is technically a higher opening than Justice League. Yeah. Jeez. Wow, DC, how did you fuck up Justice League that bad?
That's terrible.
Now, obviously, this has been like super popular. Like, I'm not, this I think has become kind of its own thing in terms of like the response, controversial, popular, whatever, it's all there. But I say that to say like Justice League, this.
What the fuck were you doing?
But yeah, worldwide $248.4 million, so it's doing pretty well overseas. I have to imagine this had a pretty low production budget. I think that was kind of the intent behind it, was to kind of keep it a little bit more low budget, a little bit more raw, a little bit more personal, darker story, a darker take. It's a dark character, at least can be a dark character, and so definitely a huge box office success, no doubt about that. Now, critical success has been a little bit more mixed, a little bit more muted since the Venice reactions. I feel like the American critics haven't been as kind as some of the overseas critics were. And given that you yourself are an American critic, believe it or not, it's time for you to weigh in.
Wow.
It's time for you to weigh in on Joker. 2019's Joker, directed by Todd Phillips. What'd you think?
So I saw this movie yesterday. I'm coming in hot and kind of fresh. Still kind of sizzling. I think it was a well-shot movie. The muted colors were very nice. I think Joaquin Phoenix was in rare form. I thought he was very well acted. But I don't know who this movie was for. It was very slow, which is, I don't have a problem with slow movies. I kind of relish in a slow movie. I really do. But this was a slow movie, and it was kind of meandering, I think, in the way it was edited. You can identify with the main character. in the sense that, you can understand why he's doing in a certain sense. But at the same time, you have, I don't know how to describe it. There's no, I don't know. I had trouble, I just don't care to watch this fucking guy.
It's not a fun movie to watch, certainly.
No, it's not. It's not a fun movie to watch.
Not particularly engaging in terms of it's mostly just look at how shit everything is. That's the movie, and a kind of a nutshell. And there's no real glimmer of real hope or anything. It's just a darker and darker dive into despair and tragedy.
And we took a look into that in Grave of the Fireflies. It's a terrible fucking situation that just gets grimmer and grimmer and grimmer every time the movie fucking progresses. Mm-hmm. But this movie is grimmer and grimmer just for the sake of getting grimmer and grimmer. You know what I mean? I don't. And to say it's a Joker movie, I find it. I don't know why you would call it a Joker movie, other than he is a good Joker. To find him being a Joker in a Batman universe would be awesome. I think he would be an awesome Joker. But in the vacuum that this movie exists in, knowing that it exists in a vacuum, I don't know why it exists. Why would you?
I mean, so this movie is obviously designed to feel separated from a comic booky universe. It takes place in Gotham, and it features the Joker, and it features maybe some other characters from the Batman mythos. But yeah, it's just it's like a coat of paint on a on a Taxi Driver ripoff is basically what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, look, it's a comic book movie, or look, it's a Joker movie. And I'm like, well, but it's not. You know what I mean? I think you do know what I mean, because I think that's kind of what you're saying as well. And I think what I will say is that's either going to work for you or it's not going to work for you. And it sounds like maybe you're in the latter camp. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I think it's a well-shot movie. I think it's a well-told story. But I think that putting the mask, a coat of paint on it, that hey, listen, it's a comic book movie about the Joker.
Look, Batman. Well, not literally, but look, yeah. Joker.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a sellout. I think that's a cop out. Yeah, I don't think that. I think the story's been told before. And I think it could be told in a much. I think it's been told. I don't think it necessarily been told better. I think it was told well in this movie, but I don't. Like I said, I don't. It's. I don't know. It's just not.
Was anyone clamoring for a Joker origin movie?
No,
I don't think so.
No, and that's just it. The Joker's a part of. I don't know. I think. I don't want to sound ignorant, but I mean, I've always thought that the Jokers existed with Batman. They've existed on two sides of the same coin, and you get a glimmer of that without any spoilers, you get a glimmer of it, right? But without Batman, and that just kind of takes away from it. I think.
This takes place before there is a Batman,
right?
Theoretically, if there were. If this was even intended to be a universe in which Batman exists. So.
Yeah, so... like I say, I think you can watch Taxi Driver. I think you can watch one movie that I haven't seen, but apparently is a movie that's been thrown around as the King Comedy. I've never seen it, but apparently it's a movie of the same vein. But I have seen Taxi Driver. And you can get kind of the same movie without the Joker being attached to it. So I don't know. I think Joaquin nailed it. I thought he was awesome. I thought it was absolutely awesomely acted. But I don't know. I didn't really identify with this movie. I thought it was meandering. I thought it was a very slow paced. And I don't know. Just wasn't my movie. I didn't really didn't really dig it.
All right. Well,
what'd you think, dude?
That's one take.
I'm very interested to hear what you say about it.
This movie was exactly what I always thought it was going to be, which is why I didn't like it. It feels antithetical to the character of the Joker in the sense that we have to paint him as a sympathetic character, and that's why he does the things that he does. And we'll get into it more in spoilers in terms of how they go about that journey. But to me, that feels like a gross misunderstanding of the character in general, and also just honestly, just kind of a weird fucking take in general, just in the sense of why I think it's probably maybe mirroring the concerns that you have. It's just like, you could have this story about someone who, goes through some tragedy and responds poorly, to put it mildly. To make that the Joker is baffling to me. And I think there's aspects of this that work in terms of what the Joker could be, in terms of what he should be, but it feels completely disingenuous to me. It really doesn't feel... And again, I said, I think the thing I can say about this movie is that it's obviously designed to be its own thing, separated from the usual comic book trappings. But I feel like that's its undoing for me. It's because if you don't want it to be a thing, don't make it that thing. For me, it's that simple. It's like, just make a movie that you want to make, and don't pussyfoot around it, and then make it a DC movie with Gotham City and Thomas Wayne, and like don't do all these things. And especially, it hits on certain touchstones, and I'm just like, why are you bothering? Like, you clearly have no interest in doing that thing, so you're just bastardizing everything about this. And for the record, that's why I was never interested in Gotham as a TV show, because it was kind of a similar thing of like, well, what if Batman, except no Batman? And I was just like, well, no, I don't care then. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is dumb. Who wants this? So I guess it's kind of the same response of just being like, here's this movie of 2 hours of just beating you over the head about how shitty things are for this one guy and how society sucks and this and that. And like, it feels like it tries to touch on, issues in society and, and wealth inequality, but it all does everything so grossly. And it feels like it all is designed to make this character that is sympathetic. Like, you're supposed to feel bad for Arthur, and I'm like, I don't feel bad for Arthur. He's a fucking piece of shit. And so, like, no, like, I think like I don't feel bad for this. And the way that this movie goes about telling its story, I feel is a huge fucking mistake. And I would agree with you in the sense that, yeah, I think it's well shot. I think Joaquin Phoenix is fantastic in this role, and I think he would absolutely, if you let him play in the Robert Pattinson Batman universe, like, dude would own it. Like, obviously that doesn't make sense for what they created here in terms of timelines and such, but there's elements here I think that work kind of on their own, but as its own thing, I don't like it. The first two acts to me just feel very manipulative and callous and gross at worst, in terms of kind of things it deals with and how it goes about dealing with those. And the third act feels like almost like a different movie. I think a better movie, one that feels more in touch with
we'll talk
the comic
about
booky nature of it.
We'll talk about it.
And I liked that, except not as a third act for this movie. As a payoff for this movie, it again, I think it doubles down on everything that I hated about the first two acts. And it tries to make it seem like I guess, I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
For me, it's just a question of, when this movie ends, how are we supposed to feel? Are we supposed to feel sympathetic still for Arthur as a character? Or are we supposed to feel disgusted by everything that we've seen? If it's the latter, I think that's maybe somewhat okay. But that was obviously not the intent in making this movie. And if it was the intent, Todd Phillips is a fucking idiot, which he's already he's already established that with his comedy comments, if you didn't see those.
No, I didn't see those.
Well, he can't be funny anymore because everybody, because you don't want to offend anyone, so you're not allowed to be funny. That's why comedies don't work anymore, is what he says. So like, he's been saying just dumb shit after dumb shit after dumb shit, like, in the press tour, and it's just like, when I see the quotes that this guy, like, the shit that
okay, I
comes out of
understand
this
why
guy's
this
mouth,
movie's made.
and then I watch this movie and I'm just like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So, I was not a fan. I think, honestly, I think my biggest complaints is that it's just so overwrought, and it has to beat you over the head with every little thing in this movie. And I think there are moments where I think it kind of does work in terms of like the visceral nature of it, in terms of how
it does
impactful it can be.
There are
but
moments.
I feel like those moments are far and few between, and it's overshadowed by moments of just me rolling my eyes or groaning because I'm just like, really, that's okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Like that was just kind of most of the movie for me, of just being like, okay. And maybe that's it could purely be a me thing of just me wanting
it's not a me thing.
This to be something that it was not. I think I just overall agree with you in the sense of like, if you're going to make a Joker movie, make a movie about the Joker, not about this character that's not the Joker. That's kind of, I think, what frustrates me. I did not enjoy the movie
until he was the Joker.
And even then, I still have issues with that, which we'll get into spoilers, but I just kind of feel like this, to me, felt like a fundamental misreading of the character.
No, it's true.
And one that, again, coming from the mind of Todd Phillips, surprises me in no way whatsoever. So, like I said, this movie was exactly what I kind of expected it would be from pretty much the day they announced it. And even though the trailers, I think, I think it's still exactly what I expected from the trailers. It's a well-shot movie. It's a well-acted movie. Really, it's just a one-man show. I mean, it's Joaquin's movie. Everyone else is kind of secondary. Not that they're bad per se, but
no, they're totally secondary.
There's no other characters in this movie, really, by design, obviously. But I just not for me.
Not for me. Wow, we're in agreement. Wow.
I just
with the way that the
it's better than Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
it's not the worst movie I've seen this year. I wouldn't say it's the worst movie I've seen.
Definitely
I just think that.
But with the way that the reviews were coming in, I thought I was going to feel alone in my camp. But I'm glad I'm not.
I like the fact that it's reviewing well isn't like wholly surprising to me. Like I think it's a well-made movie, and I think for me it's just mostly a mental block about it's just kind of treatment of Batman and Batman-related characters, i.e. the Joker. But also just in terms, I think, of how it tries to thematically approach anything, just to me, again, just feels extremely misguided at best. And like I said, just outright gross at worst. So that's just kind of my take on it. That's my 2 cents on Joker, the film. Probably will never watch this film ever again. And I'm okay with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I guarantee you I won't watch it again.
Recommendation?
Don't see it in theaters. I would say stream it.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's not. I think on its own merits, I think it's not so egregiously bad in terms of like,
the biggest thing that I actually called you after
stuff like that.
After I watched, I called you and I said, I don't know who this movie's made for. I don't know who seeks this movie out exactly.
I mean, that's just it. Like, I don't think it's not for comic book fans.
It's not for comic book fans.
I have to say this. It's not for fucking children. Don't bring your fucking kid to this. Yes, someone brought like a 7-year-old to this.
Yeah,
film.
Somebody brought their 7. Yeah, they were sitting behind us.
What are you fucking doing? Did any of you look at the trailer? Like, and I think that's part of the problem. It's like, it's a DC movie. I'm like, but it's not. It's not. It's not really even a Joker movie. Like, he's got a vaguely Joker aesthetic, kind of somewhat Joker mannerisms. He laughs, a bit, but like, it's not a Joker film. It really has very little to do with that.
It's about a fucking deranged dude.
So it's not a kids movie. It's not a comic book movie for traditional comic book movie audiences. I guess maybe it's for like, I don't know. Like,
you can see it if you're a cinephile. It feels like a
comic book movie for people that don't like comic book movies. Like people that are the Martin Scorsese's of this world that are, that's not cinema. That's who this movie feels like it was made for, because it's basically just riffing on that type of film. You know, it's trying to be a Scorsese film, except it's not as well executed in any way, and it doesn't really tell anything novel. Mostly just rehashes things that have been done before with a coat of paint to say, look, comic books. Those are popular, right? Kids like comic books, right?
Yeah,
you know, like I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know.
Who's this for? Who's the movie? That's exactly. I called you and I said, "Who's the movie for?"
I mean,
it wasn't for me.
It's obviously, you know, a movie doesn't make $100 million without people being curious about it. But I do wonder how much of that is like.
Hey, I
think if you strip this of the DC coat of paint, it's the same movie. You don't lose anything of value in terms of like, it loses a lot of the luster because like it would make sense. Like, no, this movie makes complete sense if this character is never ever referred to as the Joker within the film. I think it makes like 10% of the money that it did. You know, I really just kind of feel like
it's a cop-out movie.
It was like, what it is. Just slap the Joker's name on it and we'll fine.
Get paid. Right, yeah. We'll get paid.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I would say streaming as well because again, I think on it's not a horrible movie.
No,
in terms of being a movie, it's absolutely a movie, and it's slow and not very well paced in my opinion. It's mostly just look at sad shit for an hour and a half, and then other sad shit for the remaining half hour, but a different sort of sad shit.
It's a little bit more exciting It's a little bit more exciting.
A little bit more exciting in terms of just like the pure visuals of it, but I don't know. Yeah, just give it a look if you think it might be for you, but like, don't pay money for it. Like, just assume that it's subsumed within whatever streaming service you're using, which will probably be HBO Max, I guess, by the time this goes up on streaming. So you'll be paying $15 for your new WB HBO streaming platform, whatever. It's not the worst DC movie. Still better than Suicide Squad, like I said.
It's a pretty rough watch, though.
And that's just it. It's in no way, shape, or form a rewatchable film.
I have no interest in watching it again ever.
No. I almost kind of regret watching it just in general. Not in like a not in like a sense of like it was so bad, but I'm just like, I could have done a lot of other things in those 2 hours and I probably would have been better off for it. Like just in general. Which I feel like is not exactly a, you know.
I have one day off a week and I spent 2 hours doing this.
Right. It's just kind of just like, I had shit I could have done instead.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so let's do spoilers. Yeah. Full spoilers for Joker. Just wanted third act. I feel like we had some things to talk about third act.
Yeah, so
when he's actually the Joker.
When he's actually the Joker, I thought
this is the best part of the film, without a doubt, for me.
Yeah, and it started with the tube scene where he pulls that guy's mask off and he's running away from the cops.
That was pretty good.
It was pretty good. And then he's you know, and then the guys come over to his fucking apartment. The two guys from his work, and he stabs that one guy in the neck, and then he scares the short fella.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was all really good and Joker-esque. And then he goes to the talk show, and I thought all that was really good. Besides I didn't really appreciate the rant, and that's another thing too. They say that there's nothing to do with any of the previous Jokers, right? Any of the Jokers portrayed in film,
right? Like what he was trying to do,
right? But a lot of what he did and the way it was shot felt like an homage to Heath Ledger. So there's the line of, do I look like the guy that would have had a mission to start a scene or blah 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 blah? Do I look like the kind of guy that would have done that? That I thought that scene was straight from Nolan's Joker. And then there's the sequence with him riding through the streets as there's riots and stuff going on, and his head's on the back of the thing.
Yeah,
and that felt straight pulled from Heath Ledger's Joker. But I don't want, I don't know. It felt like the same kind of thing. Felt like it was an homage to him. I don't want to say it was like a ripoff or anything, because it certainly was not, because it was a very different character, but it definitely felt like an homage. But I didn't enjoy the character until he became the Joker. Otherwise, I felt like he was, like, you're a miserable, I mean, there's a lot of miserable shit going on around you, and
it's just an hour and a half of just,
like, hey, pity me.
Shit sucks. Yeah. I'm bad at everything, and I have a laughing condition, so it makes me...
I have a laughing disorder. I'm going to give you a card for... That was another thing, too,
Apparently that's a real disorder. I had to look that up.
I'm sure it's a real disorder. I'm sorry if you have that disorder.
But it's also kind of... it feeds into my broader point, but continue, sorry.
It's just kind of... I don't know, man. I just didn't... It's... Now, when it's visceral, it's super visceral. I can tell you that. Like when he shoots the guy, it's like a super hardcore movie when it wants to be a hardcore movie. But when it's I don't know. I couldn't feel the gears when it shifted. You know what I mean? It felt at a pace, and it just felt jarring. When it wanted to try to make you feel something, it made you feel it. But throughout the course of the movie, I couldn't identify with it. So it was, I don't know, it's just a very jarring experience. I didn't enjoy it a whole lot.
I felt like the third act is kind of the only time in the movie, for the most part, where it ever feels like they tried to capture him as a Joker-like character, which obviously was the intent. It's designed to show his evolution from Arthur Fleck into the Joker, right? That's kind of the idea.
But there's no Arthur Fleck. I didn't identify with Arthur Fleck at all. I mean, what is there about Arthur Fleck that you? I mean, I couldn't. I
don't know that it's necessarily a case of identifying with him. I'm not entirely sure that you're supposed to identify with him because there isn't anything about him that's particularly endearing or anything like that. The way that it tries to make you identify with him is, look at all this bad shit that happens to him. Like, don't you feel bad for him? I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess kind of, but like, okay. And I think my broader point is you have 2 acts of Arthur Fleck being beaten, sometimes literally, sometimes, mentally, to the point where the snap happens, and now he is, when you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker? Well, I feel like, to me, I feel like there was a disconnect between the character of the first 2 acts and the character of the third act, where, yes, I get that they were trying to convey a sense of this character has been, mistreated and abused, and now he's retaliating. And it's just like, to me, that feels like a justification. You don't justify the Joker. And that's why I don't like this movie overall, is because this to me feels like 2 acts of super manipulative things to show how shitty life is for him. He went through abuse as a child. Yeah, and he everyone hates him. Anywhere he turns, he gets lied to, or he gets, something happens. And he has this relationship with his mother, which is obviously not good for him. The fucking asshole at work. Basically gives him the gun. Was just like, fuck that guy, and gets him fired, basically. And it's just it's a series of unfortunate events for Arthur Fleck. And, the whole, I guess it was the Killing Joke thing is, you're one bad day away from being me. Something like that is kind of the idea of, it just takes one bad day for someone to snap and turn into the Joker. But I've never liked that interpretation of the Joker. The Joker is infinitely more interesting when you don't really know what his angle is. And I feel like trying to give depth to a character that does not demand depth is a huge mistake. And I think the mistake that they make in making this film is, not only do they... I think they don't... I don't think they paint his behavior in a light that makes it seem like, wow, this guy is an absolute piece of shit. it makes it painted in a light of like, look at all these bad things that happen to him because society sucks, and and there's wealth inequality, and like like they just hate the little guy, and they're cutting social services. If he just got treated, he'd be fine. It's just like,
is that an excuse for killing his mom with a pillow?
So that's an excuse for him to just kill his mom, and that's an excuse for him to spark this huge riot, which leads to the deaths of Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, and leads to the deaths of cops, or I guess badly beaten cops, in the subway, and that's why it gives him an excuse to have a triple homicide, and it gives an excuse to kill his worker, who was kind of an asshole, and it gives him an excuse to kill a talk show host because he made fun of him on TV, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. But you seem to think that it does. You being the director, you know what I mean? Like, does this third act feel like a triumphant third act? To me, it does. Does this third act feel like it's trying to tell you, like, we got to fix things, or everyone's going to end up like this?
We're going to put him up he's going to be dancing on the hood of a car,
right?
And everybody's going to be worshiping him.
Like, okay, he's in an asylum at the end, which to me felt very tacked on. But then it's just, he just kills the psychiatrist, and I was like, okay, all right, fine. Why is this in here? Just one more note of like, look how hardcore we are. It's just like, to me, like, again, it's just like, why are you trying to make this character sympathetic? That's a misstep. And the third act is like this whole thing of like, he was right, like his whole rant. So his whole rant on the talk show, to me, symbolizes what this film is trying to say. And I think what this film is trying to say is fucking stupid. What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash? I'll tell you what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. Really? That's the message you're going with? The Joker was right the whole time? Really?
It's terrible. Yeah, it's awful.
And it's fine for the Joker, I guess, to feel that way. I don't think a comic book Joker would ever say anything like that. I think the Joker, and this Joker kind of does revel in that. He kills Robert De Niro. But to me, like, the Joker isn't about like uprooting society and correcting society. Like he's I feel like the Heath Ledger Joker really, really crushed it. Like I'm an agent of chaos. I'm not invested in any single outcome.
I don't give a fuck what you guys have going on.
I just like fucking things up just to see what happens. I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught it. Like that's kind of his angle, and like that's the Joker. Like Nolan absolutely completely nailed that aspect of the Joker. Like, yeah, he played with the visual look of it or whatever. Like that was the Joker. Like that was the essence of what the Joker is as a character. Whereas here, it feels like a very targeted response, and I think that's fine if you wanted to make a movie about the mass shooters in America, is basically what this kind of is, and being like, well, they shouldn't have been bullied. It's like, well, you could be bullied and not just kill people in response. Like, there's a disconnect there. I feel like we should discourage that sort of behavior instead of saying like, fix society or this is what fucking happens. Sorry, it's just the way it's going to be. And it's just like, well, it is the way it is, I guess, in a way. But like, huh?
What?
Like, why would, like, again, like, I'm baffled that DC would sign off on this shit, honestly. Like, I guess they're at, like, an impasse where they're just like, we don't know what we're doing. Just make whatever. It's fine. Take our money and just do whatever. Like I guess I kind of get that sentiment of, like, we're fucking lost. Justice League made us less money than this fucking movie did, so it's like, okay. But what? Just what is this movie?
Well, I'm glad we feel the same way, dude.
Mostly rant over. There's a couple things that just kind of, when they happened, I felt like the whole thing with, I guess they kind of very strict. They kind of went against it overall, but Thomas Wayne being his dad at one point, I was just like, oh, fuck you. Fuck everyone involved in this. And they kind of went away from that. So, but I just felt like, as like a plot, I was just like, I don't need this. Like, I don't want it. And just there's just other things that just to me felt kind of like, weird and off kilter.
Like
and
his
I guess,
girlfriend?
like his
Like, what-
hit the girlfriend neighbor. Like, it was just kind of like, for a while, I was just kind of like, why the fuck does she put up with this shit? And obviously they explained that. But it was just
totally
kind of
unneeded. What the
I was
fuck?
like, yeah, like it didn't really add anything, I guess, And I also, it's like, if you're going to bastardize the entire mythos, like, don't fucking insult my intelligence and put the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne at the tail end as being like a look, it's Bruce Wayne. And, I'm just like, no. Like, you wanted to do something different, and then you're going to do that anyway? Like, fuck you. No.
Yeah.
I don't want this. Like, I don't care. Why am I supposed to care? I have no reason to care. I hate everything about what you've just told me. Like, what I will say is, I think you can scrap the first 2 acts of this movie and reconfigure the third act into something good, where Batman is the villain. I think you can make a Joker movie where Batman is the villain, and that's kind of interesting because you're seeing kind of the opposite side of things. I don't think the problem with that is you have to have an inherently unlikable main character. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a hard thing to pull off, and something that I, in my opinion, feel like they clearly did not do here. But I liked kind of the idea, and it's kind of similar to what Nolan did with the Dark Knight. It's just kind of having like Joker and kind of followers and a movement kind of happening, or it's similar to Bane too. Like Bane, there was the whole like fuck society kind of thing that happened with that. Like, it kind of feels like a merger of those two kind of narratives, and I think that could have worked if there's a Batman that responds to show that, actually, no, you're wrong, doofus, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Instead of justifying the thing, I was like, yeah, society fucking sucks. Joker rules, yo. Like, that's this movie's message to me, is just like, yeah, he's right. Yeah, we're going to glorify him. We're going to glorify this guy that fucking kills people because he got mistreated. I'm like, okay, well, some people get mistreated and they don't kill people. So, or does that make them a lesser person? Is that not an okay response?
That's what I
had. Is that not
trouble.
A healthy response?
That's where I found disgust with the movie. Was whatever throughout the whole thing, and then the end was, all right. Well, wow, he shot that fucking guy. Oh, he stabbed that guy in the fucking neck and in the eyeball. Wow, that's Joker. And then at the end, he's captured, which, okay, cool, he's captured. That feels like when he's in the cop car, that felt like a good thing. You know what I mean? He can look and relish in all the city burning and everything else.
He feels personally fulfilled, but at the same time, like, shit's gone sideways,
right?
And it's just kind of like, cool. Well, you've succeeded. You fucked up the world. So
right.
Good for you, but like also bad for everyone else.
But then the ambulance smashes into the side of the car, and they pull him out. And then they pull him out, and he's dancing on top of the car, and everybody's cheering for him. And then cut to end of the movie, and it's like, what the fuck was that?
Except if that was the end of the first act, and then you cut to Bruce Wayne looking at the news and thinking, we've got some work to do. I think that's fine. If there's another 2 acts of that where you go out of your way to say, actually, no,
that's wrong.
This guy's wrong. Like, I think that could work as like a starting off point, because I feel like the characterization of the Joker there actually is done pretty well. Aside from like you said, even if Joker goes on his little rant on the thing, I think it's a little out of character for the Joker. It's fine for this version, obviously, because that was what they were trying to tell. It was again a misguided version of the character that they.
But still, for the end of the movie, we're going to glorify all the shit that he's done, and the whole city is gonna praise him for everything that he's done. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I just think that taking no attempt to denounce that feels just
like I can't identify with that. I can't
like this. Like I guess the kind of movie like this movie is designed for people that watch the third act and think, fuck yeah. That's probably who it's for, right?
And who is that person?
I don't know. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're out there, right? But
well,
it's just kind of just being like,
the Rotten Tomatoes says 96% or whatever the fuck.
And I guess I don't want to simplify the response, and say that.
There's not to say that there's not things in this movie that need to be told.
Said, there are things about this movie I think that are very well done, and Joaquin, I think, really, really obviously put a lot into it physically and mentally, and I think he did exceptionally well with what he had to do. And I feel like his third act Joker was awesome. Like, I really, really think he, as an actor, as a performer, did really, really well in those moments, like, of just showing the unpredictable nature of the character sometimes. Like, that was really, really cool. I just wish that it came in the context of a movie where, even if he was still the protagonist, or at least the main character, maybe not the protagonist per se, but like, it could have worked, I think, in a different context. I think the context they gave it here is what fucks everything up for me, and it's context built by an hour and a half of this film. So it's hard to undo that, and they made no attempt to do it. So I kind of feel like that's mostly all I have to offer on this. Obviously not a fan. If you liked it, it's totally fine. Opinions are what they are, but I'd
enjoy hearing your opinion, your arguments. If you could send us your arguments and your opinions, I would enjoy listening and reading to it, and maybe we'll get you on here and we'll talk to you about it. Because I couldn't find, other than the I don't know, other than the actual filmmaking, you know, with the acting and the colors and the way it was shot, and, you know, the critical pieces, I couldn't find much enjoyment in this movie, or much to appreciate, because I don't know, I just found the characters and everything and just completely, I don't know, just a lot of it was
it's not for me a gripping movie in terms of,
some of it's vaguely disgusting, and in fact, I think that's what I was trying to say. I find myself kind of repulsed about what the message appears to be. Is that fair?
I feel like that's what I've been saying for 20 minutes now.
Yeah, and I don't want to come out and say that, because obviously I don't think that's, I kind of, maybe I'm missing the mark in how I feel about it, but the way it kind of seems is you got this person that's been shit on, and this is how they react, and then they're glorified at the end of the movie about it, and I feel kind of disgusted about how that arc is portrayed.
To me, it feels like a rationalization for toxic behavior in a way.
Right.
Even that's probably oversimplifying it, for inexcusable behavior, for very illegal behavior, for heinous behavior. It's just like, well, if your life sucks, then you can retaliate, and that's justifiable. You. And it's just like, yeah, like, nah, I don't think so.
Right. And there was an interview with Joaquin, and somebody called him out on that, I think, didn't they? To some sort of extent, and he walked out on the interview?
Kind of. I think he was mostly, I think he went to go talk to, like, WB, like, press, to be like, how am I supposed to answer this question? But I feel like that's kind of been a big kind of magnet of controversy walking in. It was just kind of just being like, is this film going to incite violence, inspire violence? I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily going to, spark violence outright from it. I'm not a big fan of saying that any sort of media is really going to inspire people.
For the same reason,
like, video games inspire shooters. Right. I think that's a fucking dumbest take possible. So I feel like I'm not gonna. I would never go to those lengths. But I feel like the messaging in here is not great. It's not a great look at the very least. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just like, could have done better. Could have done better.
I don't know. Like I said, that's the Joker, though. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, is it though? Is it the Joker? I mean, it's a Joker, and it's a Joker that's
very well acted.
Probably better than Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh, it's infinitely better than Jared Leto. Listen, I thought he was an outrageously awesome Joker. I thought his laugh was awesome. I thought his mannerisms were awesome. And when he was in the suit and the full-on makeup and everything else, the third act, I thought it was a fucking incredible Joker.
Yeah. It just kind of felt like, I mean, like the leap from Arthur to the Joker never to me felt quite fully
No, it's a huge
realized in terms of
disconnect.
when he took the leap. Like he just kind of started to put the makeup back on, and then he just put the suit on and just like, yeah, I'm the Joker now. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like it felt very abrupt in terms of how it, like it kind of knew that it wanted to reach that point, but it was just like, just give him a bunch of shitty things that happened to him. Who cares? People will be fine with it. Then apparently they are. So there you go.
Yeah.
What do we know?
That's the Joker.
Just a bunch of dummies. If you have any thoughts on Joker, we have a segment of the show called The Listener's Corner where we like to talk about what people think about movies, TV shows, anything they've been up to recently. Just send us an email at watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. And on the note of The Listener's Corner, Mr. Bruce Brown has written in once again to chime in on some TV shows that he's been watching.
Oh, Bruce Brown. What's he got?
Avid listener of the show. Mindhunter Season 2, he says, is really, really good.
Oh, I've been watching Mindhunter myself.
All right. Well, I'll ask you what you're doing next. Pump the brakes, my friend. Pump the brakes. He says The Boys, regarding Amazon's The Boys. He says he loved it. Very different look at superheroes. Well done. Ready for Season 2, which it is getting. Scream Season 3. Crap. So yes, quote-unquote crap. So, but he says Seasons 1 and 2 are quite good, so apparently it's a drop in quality. He says The Chef on Netflix is a fun 2 seasons with John F. I believe he's referring to Mr. Johnny V.
Johnny V.
Favreau, who's got his own little cooking show on Netflix, which looks pretty fun, pretty delightful.
Yeah, Johnny V on a cooking show.
And last but not least, Another Life. He says he wanted to like it, but couldn't. Just overall bad writing and lame with an otherwise okay cast. I don't know much about that one. Do you know anything about Another Life?
No, never heard of it.
Is that a show? I think it's a show. Let's find out. What is it? It's a science fiction drama show on Netflix. Oh, okay, I see. It's got Katie Sackhoff, Selma Blair, Tyler Hoechlin, and Justin Chatwin. Okay. Science fiction. I don't know, but apparently not that great. So not gonna fast track it or anything like that. So that's it for the Listener's Corner for this week. Again, if you have thoughts on Joker or any other things that you want to talk about, please send those our way. I'd definitely be curious to hear some other takes on the Joker, because I feel like we're probably going to ultimately be in the minority on this one based on the reviews and the box office and reception. But that's fine. I didn't like it, and I'm comfortable in saying that. So, again, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. That's our email. Andrew, what you been up to over the past couple of weeks? Anything exciting?
What have I been up to? Watched Dancing with the Stars tonight.
Classic.
Sean Spicer is on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my goodness!
Did you know that?
How far into the season is it? Like, has he survived many weeks at this point? Or is he like?
Yeah, dude, he's survived like 2 or 3 vote offs. Yeah, it's incredible to see him on the show.
Good for him. I'm sure he'll sell a book after this too. So yeah,
that's what I say.
We like to reward
Spicer,
people
man.
for being complicit in this administration. Yay! Society is fucked up. Yeah, Joker was right.
What else do we got? I've got I don't know, man. I haven't been up to a whole lot, to be honest with you. I've been watching some football. Georgia Bulldogs crushed Tennessee. There was a sequence there where they blindsided the quarterback and then knocked over the referee and then ran it back for a touchdown. It was completely hilarious. I laughed my ass off.
Tennessee is like the bad news bears of college football this year, except there's no heartwarming comeback story at the end. They're just going to be fucking terrible all year.
They look, well, they came in strong. Played
well for half a quarter, maybe a full quarter, and then they lost by like 40.
For 2 quarters, they came in strong. And then after halftime, they just fucking fell down.
Wait, there's another half? Oh, shit.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's exactly what it felt like. What else have I been up to? I haven't really watched a whole lot, I don't think. Been playing Grindstone on my iPhone, which is pretty cool. It's just like this iPhone game. And then today I just downloaded this really cool game. This is off the Apple Arcade. I've been getting my money's worth off of it. I've been trying to anyways. $5 a month. You get these really well-polished little iPhone games, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's called Mini Motorways. And you design like roadways for like LA and stuff. And it's, I don't know, just something cool to do when it's slow at work. And I enjoyed that phone today. But I think that's about it. I haven't really been up to a whole lot.
I gotcha. Cool.
Sinner. Oh, The Sinner off of Netflix. With the guy from the Alien movie with Will Smith, 90s, Independence Day.
Oh, okay.
The president from Independence Day plays a
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, yes.
Not Bill Paxton. The late Bill Paxton, unfortunately. Bill Pullman, the other Bill.
Yes, the other Bill. He plays a detective with Jessica Biel, I think her name is.
That sounds right. What's it called? The Sinner?
The Sinner. And I think we finally, Sarah and I finally wrapped up the series today, or not today, but yesterday or whatever. We got really close anyways. I think I might have one episode left, but it's finally wrapped up. And it was a pretty cool story. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I found the need to complete it, and I completed it.
Well, apparently there's 2 seasons that are out.
2 seasons, right.
Did you watch both of them?
Nope, just the first season.
Just the first season.
Jessica Biel.
I got you. Cool.
I wanted to complete it.
I remember seeing stuff for it.
I kind of wanted to start Castle Rock, which is the Hulu.
That looks pretty cool. Yeah, I mean Stephen King kind of weirdness and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like it got pretty good reviews, and I know season 2 is in the pipeline. So
yeah, so I kind of wanted to start that. But I know we gotta watch some stuff for Halloween and whatnot. So I don't know if I should start Halloween movies or kick on to Castle Rock. So that's kind of where I'm at. So
it's true. It's a good point. Stay tuned for announcement of our future bonus episode, because you just reminded me and I probably wouldn't have said otherwise.
Bang bang.
All right, anything else for you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, I have a pretty short list myself. It's going to mostly sound familiar to the past couple episodes because I've been doing a lot of the same shit. But one new thing I will add on is that I have also watched a single episode of The Boys. I watched the first episode and I thought it was pretty good. And I would like to watch more of it, so hopefully I will be able to accomplish that soon. I finished the season 2 of The Good Place. Continues to be awesome. Started season 3. Did not go where I expected it to go. Not that I knew where I expected it to go per se, but it definitely went in a pretty interesting direction, which I'm really kind of interested to see how that all pans out. Continues to be hilarious. I love The Good Place. Highly recommend it to anyone that has Netflix, which is mostly everyone these days. All 3 seasons are up. Season 4 just started on NBC, so I should be hopefully caught up within a few weeks so I can start watching it live. That would be kind of cool. A little bit more Fire Emblem. 3 houses in my life have slowed down a little bit recently, but I'm kind of still slowly working my way through it. So my hope is to be done with the house that I chose, hopefully, relatively soon, because I'm going to have a little bit more time to play it because I'm going on vacation pretty soon.
Nice.
I'm heading out to Texas in just a few days' time for the Austin City Limits Music Festival.
Ooh.
So I'll be seeing the likes of, let's say, the Raconteurs, Tame Impala.
Oh, I like them. Yeah, the Raconteurs are pretty cool.
Billie Eilish, Childish Gambino, Lizzo, Mumford & Sons, probably. I don't know. Sunday's headline.
Billie Eilish is pretty cool. She
but
puts out kind of weird music, and she's pretty cool. I like her a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like her style. She's good. So yeah, that'll be fun. It's going to be hot as fuck in Texas, but I'll enjoy some Texas barbecue almost certainly while I'm out there. Maybe some nice cold, refreshing brewskis as well. And been hanging out with my brother Jordan, previous guest of this podcast, and it should be a good time. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of other stuff because I've had a lot of school stuff in the past week and a half. So that's kind of been eating up a lot of my free time that I would like to use in other ways. But it is what it is. Just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But that's it for me. So next time we record, which will probably be in a couple weeks' time, I'll hopefully have some information about Austin City Limits for our listeners and for you. So without further ado, I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. I will remind you all again, if you want to support us on Patreon, you can get exclusive access to our Studio Ghibli bonus episode. It's going to be part of a series of bonus episodes that we do on Studio Ghibli. However, we're not going to be continuing that until probably early next year. But I think it'll be 4 parts eventually, basically covering decades, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Is that what we call it? 2010s? Is that what we call it? The 10s? Do we call them the 10s? It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Isn't it uncomfortable to say the 10s as like a decade?
Yeah.
It's so weird to say. But yeah, that's our plan. That's our ultimate plan, is to do 4 eventual episodes as part of a series. If you want to support us on Patreon, head to patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat or to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com, and click the premium tab in the top left, and then click the Become a Patron button. It's $2 a month. You'll also get access, early access to all of our regular episodes. And you can look forward to our next bonus episode, which will be debuting later this month. In the Halloween spirit, we're going to be covering the Evil Dead franchise.
Ooh.
4 movies from the franchise, which will be very exciting. I'm ready to dip my toes into those films. Starting to get into the Halloween spirit myself. I feel like it's starting to cool off a little bit in the Northeast, and I've seen some fall decorations, some spooky things. I'm liking it, man. So I'm ready for it. I'm just absolutely ready for it. Meanwhile, it's probably 90 degrees in Florida, but
that's
Florida,
right.
Florida be Florida, So
I don't know what fall feels like, but I'll take your word for it that the seasons are changing somewhere.
Yeah. So that's that with Patreon. Feel free to support us if you want. No pressure if you don't. Totally cool. You're just missing out on some cool ass bonus content, at least for a little while anyway. You can follow us on Twitter at WRRPod, like us on Facebook, Watch Review Repeat. Questions, comments, and suggestions, again, feelings on Joker or anything else, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. We would happily welcome any of those emails. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. We haven't decided what our next episode is going to be, but based purely on release dates and schedules, we have a few options. We could do Gemini Man, but we probably won't because it looks like dog shit. Coming out in a couple weeks' time. I don't think there's anything super exciting coming out on whatever that Friday, the 11th. I don't think there's anything that super piques our interest. But on the 18th, we've got Jojo Rabbit, the Taika Waititi film.
Yes.
And we also have Zombieland Double Tap. And I feel like either of those could be ripe for coverage, or maybe both. Again, we'll kind of see how things pan out. Maybe as reviews kind of trickle in, we'll see maybe what's worth spending our time on. Then again, you could argue that maybe the movie we talked about today wasn't worth spending our time on. And I would say that would be a fair argument, but it is what it is. You know what it is? We do it for you. So that's what we got on tap for you guys. Look forward to that. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll catch you next time. Andrew?
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.